Incentive mechanisms must also be updated in line with the changing circumstances and put through necessary adjustments to complement the development of new quality productive forces. We need to make our systems more accommodating and adaptive so that companies with real potential could grow and thrive with the support of the capital market. And the structure of listed companies will be constantly improved to better share the fruits of high-quality development with investors. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。请中区第4排这位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。湖北广播电视台记者提问，我的问题想提给蓝福安部长。公共财政取之于民，用之于民，民生关系千家万户。那么，请问财政在保障民生方面采取了哪些措施？如何进一步加大对民生的支持？谢谢您。
Hubei TV, my question goes to Minister Lan. Government revenues come from the people and should be invested in the people. Issues concerning livelihood are essential for each and every family. What steps have been taken on the fiscal front to ensure people's well-being? How will the fiscal policy further strengthen support for public well-being?
Thank you. The question you asked has always been on my mind for some time. This spending on people's well-being covers a majority of our spending. Providing financial support for people's well-being is the basic function of the finance. Nothing is trivial when it comes to people's interests, and everything is of paramount importance when it matters to people's lives. In recent years, we have followed through on the decisions made by the CPC Central Committee to keep allocating more spending to people's lives and take more heartwarming policy measures to improve living standards, so as to turn the account book of the government into a happiness list of the people. First, the coverage has been expanded. Thanks to years of efforts, China has built the world's largest education system, social security system, and healthcare system. Our basic old age insurance now covers nearly 1.1 billion people, and more than 1.3 billion people have joined the basic medical insurance. 44 million impoverished people receive subsistence allowances or assistance and support for extreme poverty. Each year, nearly 100 million government subsidies are offered to students with financial difficulties, and 159 million students in compulsory education, are exempted from paying tuition and miscellaneous fees and are provided with free textbooks. Second, support has been implemented. Policy support in employment, education, social security, medical services, housing and environment has been strengthened. For example, from 2019 to 2023, the government subsidies for basic medical insurance for rural and non-working urban residents has been raised from 520 yuan to 640 yuan per person per year, with an increase of 30 yuan annually. Financial authorities at all levels have allocated 3 trillion yuan of subsidies, and this year, the government subsidies will further increase by 30 yuan. Third, investment has been boosted. From 2019 to 2023, government spending on education has grown by 18.5%, government spending on social security and employment by 35.8%, and government spending on healthcare by 34.4%. In 2024, budget set for education and social security and employment both exceed 4 trillion yuan. Going forward, we will continue to shoulder the responsibility of improving people's lives in our work and make utmost efforts and within our capacity. we will solve pressing problems that concern the people most, step up government investment, roll out policies in a targeted manner, ensure that the basic living needs of the people are met, and make great efforts on every piece of work concerning people's lives. Thank you.
南区举手的同志很多，虽然比较远啊，那就后面那位穿红色衣服的女士，对，靠后的，是，谢谢。
谢谢。总台 CGTN 提问，我的问题想提给商务部的王部长。我们注意到您不久前率团参加了世贸组织第13届部长级会议，请您介绍一下这次会议的主要成果以及它的影响。那接下来在推动世贸组织改革以及维护多边贸易体制方面，中国还会有哪些考虑？谢谢。
CGTN, my question goes to Minister Wang. We noticed that you led a delegation to the 13th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization. Could you give us an update on the conference, including its main outcomes? What will China do going forward to promote WTO reform and safeguard the multilateral trading system?
谢谢你对世贸组织工作的关注。
Thank you for your interest in the work of the WTO.
MC13 也就是世贸组织第13。
I'd like to brief you on MC13.
2月26日至
From February 26th to March the 2nd, MC13 was held in Abu Dhabi, the UAE. I led a delegation to the conference. After the intensive and arduous consultations by all members, the conference reached practical outcomes of 1+10. The 1 means the Abu Dhabi Ministerial Declaration. This is really hard one because there used to be a presidential statement. But this year we had a ministerial declaration. The 10 include the agreement on investment facilitation for development, the ministerial decision on dispute settlement reform, and the work program on e-commerce. Many members say this is another major victory for multilateralism and has boosted international confidence in the multilateral trading system. Here I will focus on a few highlights. As for the agreement on the investment facilitation for development, I just mentioned, the significance of its formal conclusion can be summed up in 3 firsts. It is the world's first multilateral investment agreement. It's the first agreement with development at its core, and the first negotiation on investment rules led by developing members. And the negotiation used to be designed by developed countries. So this time things are different, and China has played a major leading role. At present, 127 members have become parties to the agreement, or more than 3/4 of the WTO members, and the figure is still growing. After its entry into force and implementation, this agreement will help enhance global investment liberalization and facilitation, improve the international investment environment, and will better respond to the strong aspirations of developing members to attract foreign investment and grow their economies. In addition, MC13 successfully brought into force the outcomes of negotiations on service domestic regulation. This is the first multilateral service trade agreement reached since the WTO came into being. There are 72 signatories to the agreement, covering more than 90% of global services business. According to the estimates of international institutions, the entry into force of this agreement will help reduce the costs of global services trade by $127 billion every year. For another example, the dispute settlement mechanism is known as the crown jewel of the WTO, but due to the obstruction of certain country, the appellate body has been paralyzed for years, and the dispute settlement mechanism is struggling. MC13 adopted the ministerial decision on dispute settlement reform, and all parties agreed to work for the resumption of the normal operation of this mechanism within this year. There are 146 members to the WTO, and they differ greatly in their stages of development and interests. Negotiation is difficult, and every outcome is hard won. And my delegation worked around the clock and were engaged in negotiations one by one or for some time at the same time. A good example is that MC13 was originally scheduled to end on February 29th, but it was postponed several times at the last moment, and the negotiations were only concluded in the early morning of March the 2nd. And many agreements were finalized within 2 or 3 hours before the conference ended. China has always attached great importance to the work of the WTO. General Secretary Xi Jinping, when presiding over the 8th Group Study Session of the Political Bureau of the CPC Special Committee last year, stressed that the WTO is an important pillar of multilateralism and an important stage for global economic governance. It is important to fully participate in WTO reform and the adjustment of international trade rules. During MC13, the Chinese delegation fully followed through on the guiding principle of General Secretary Xi's important statement, demonstrated China's responsibility as a responsible major country, actively promoted talks, cooperation, and success. This is another vivid example of China's practice of genuine, of true multilateralism and its efforts to implement China's 3 global initiatives. On the future work of the WTO, I wish to say we should have full confidence that we will succeed if we stick it out, and we should also be patient in taking gradual steps. It is difficult to have consensus because there are many members to WTO, and as a core member of the WTO and the largest developing country, China will work with all parties to implement the outcomes and the consensus reached at MC13 and safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of developing members. China will continue to fully and deeply participate in the reform of the WTO and work for the normal operation of the dispute settlement mechanism within this year. We will speed up negotiation on e-commerce, fisheries, subsidies, and in particular work hard to reach the world's first high-standard digital trade rules as soon as possible. It is very important that we will continue to unequivocally oppose unilateralism and protectionism. We will stand with all parties against any attempt to politicize, weaponize, or impose security implications on economic and trade issues, and work for an open world economy and a community with a shared future for mankind. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。请中区第4排这位女士，举手的这位，对，谢谢。
谢谢。我是香港经济日报的记者，我的问题是提给潘功胜行长。那去年召开了中央金融工作会议，现在各方面对于这个金融领域的对外开放是有很高的期待。 想请问潘行长，人民银行对于这方面是有何思路和举措？谢谢。
Hong Kong Economic Times. After the Central Financial World Conference last year, there was high expectation for China's opening up in the financial sector. What is the PBOC's plan in this regard?
谢谢你的问题。
Thank you for your question. Opening up is China's fundamental state policy. The PBOC will continue to promote high-standard financial opening up and make our policies more transparent and predictable, and promote high-standard financial opening up. We will do the following. First, we will expand opening up of the financial services and the financial markets, especially the financial services sector. In recent years, we have worked with other financial departments and established a system of pre-establishment national treatment plus negative list for foreign investment in the financial sector, and removed restrictions on foreign ownership on banking, securities, funds, futures, and life insurance. Last November, the PBOC issued a bank card clearance license to MasterCard and UCC. Going forward, we will improve the business environment for foreign financial institutions, make China a more attractive place for foreign financial institutions and local capital, and support Chinese financial institutions in going global and expand their international market. We will steadily expand the two-way opening up of our financial markets. Now, foreign investors can invest in China's financial market either directly or through connectivity mechanisms such as the Bond Connect and the Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong Stock Connect. Recently, the PBOC and the Hong Kong Monetary Authority have included bonds under Bond Connect as eligible collateral for the HKMA's RMB liquidity arrangement and opened up the domestic repurchase agreement market to all foreign institutional investors. At the same time, we optimized the cross-boundary wealth management Connect pilot scheme and expanded the range of participating institutions and products. By the end of January this year, foreign investors have been net buyers of Chinese bonds for 12 consecutive months, with a cumulative net purchase of 1.8 trillion yuan. Going forward, we will continue to make domestic and overseas financial markets better connected, create a more friendly investment and financial environment, and attract more investors to China's financial markets, and support competent Chinese enterprises in listing overseas, and encourage sovereign wealth funds and pension funds to invest overseas. Second, we will further facilitate cross-border trade, investment, and financing, internationalize the RMB, and build an international financial center. Better facilitating cross-border trade, investment, and financing is what the PBOC has tried hard to do in recent years. And we optimized our approval procedures that will facilitate financial institutions financing and investment overseas, and to facilitate multinational corporations to coordinate the use of domestic and foreign funds. We built foreign and local currency cash pools. And now there is greater demand for different entities to use the RMB. In meeting market demand, the PBOC has improved institutional arrangements and financial infrastructure for the cross-border use of the RMB. The functions of the RMB have been enhanced, such as payment and settlement, investment and financing, and serving as a reserve currency. And the RMB has basically acquired the network effects needed for global usage. At present, the RMB is the fourth most active currency for global payments, the third largest trade financing currency, and the fifth most traded currency. Going forward, the PBOC will continue to improve the cross-border RMB policy, improve the cross-border RMB payment system, optimize the global layout of RMB, clearing banks, strengthen cooperation with overseas monetary authorities, steadily promote the sound development of the offshore RMB market. The PBOC firmly upholds Hong Kong's status as an international financial center. In addition to the 6 policy measures of 3 connectivity and 3 facilitation launched early this year, we will continue to deepen financial cooperation between the mainland and Hong Kong. We will strengthen Hong Kong's role as an international asset management center and risk management center, and support Hong Kong in building itself into a fintech hub and a sustainable financial center in the Asia-Pacific region. We will continue to support Shanghai in growing as an international financial center and expanding high-standard financial opening up. We will continue to improve measures to facilitate cross-border trade and support Shanghai in turning itself into a RMB-denominated asset allocation center and risk management center. Third, we will foster a market-oriented, law-based, and world-class business environment and improve the facilitation of cross-border services. We will continue to optimize payment systems, and there have been 3 generations of methods of payments. The first is cash, then checks and bank cards, and the third one is online payment and mobile payment. Mobile payment and online payment in China are a rapid alternative to the first 2 generations of payment means. So the rapid development and popularity of mobile payment has improved transaction efficiency, reduced transaction costs, and promoted financial inclusion. And mobile payment has become a bright spot in financial services in China. That said, that has brought with it some problems. For example, the elderly and foreign visitors may not have got used to it. The PBOC will implement the guiding document on further optimizing payment services and improving payment convenience, recently approved by the General Office of the State Council. This will be formally released tomorrow. We will work with relevant government departments, commercial banks, etc., to make bank cards more widely accepted. We will make mobile payment services more accessible by allowing more overseas visitors to link their own bank cards with China's mobile payment apps and accepting more foreign e-wallets for cashless payments in China. We will focus on key regions, places, and individual businesses and work for early outcomes. The PBOC will work with other financial authorities to optimize institutional arrangements for the cross-border flow of financial data. Last year, the competent authority formulated the provisions on regulating and promoting cross-border data flows and has been soliciting for comments. The PBOC is also optimizing the management of the cross-border flow of financial data, and we are complying a catalog of important data, setting formal ground rules on regulatory compliance, and then give financial institutions clear guidance accordingly, so we can make cross-border flow of financial data better regulated and easier. Fourth, we will take an active part in international financial governance and pursue both financial opening up and security. And we will continue to step up communication and cooperation with international financial organizations and participate in global financial governance and policy coordination, strengthen global and regional financial safety net, and build a financial bridge for trade and investment between China and the rest of the world. At the global level, we will continue to advance the IMF's quota reform and build a financial architecture that is more just and equitable. At the regional level, we will steadily promote ASEAN +3 finance cooperation and the Chiang Mai Initiative multilateralization, further reflect on our own characteristics. At the bilateral level, we will follow through on the important outcomes of the China-US Leaders Summit and prudently advance the priorities of the China-US Financial Working Group. We will promote the work of the China-EU Financial Working Group and deepen financial cooperation with the major countries in the region. We will continue to enhance our financial security capabilities while opening up, improve macro-prudential regulation, and strengthen monitoring, assessment, and early warning of cross-border financial risks. We will establish a more sound and full-fledged legal system for the financial sector and accelerate enacting or amending the financial stability law, the anti-money laundering law, and the regulations on foreign exchange. The evolvement of China's financial market shows that unswervingly opening up to the outside world is a strong driving force and an important guarantee for high-quality development. It is also a key measure for finance to better serve the real economy and increase a country's institutional competitive edge, and we will continue our work in this regard. Thank you.
请北区第4排第3位，对，这位先生。
谢谢。封面新闻记者提问，我的问题想提给吴清主席。吴主席您好，今年政府工作报告提出要增强资本市场的内在稳定性。请问对此如何理解？将从哪些方面来推进？谢谢。
The cover. My question goes to Chairman Wu. The government work report noted that the underlying stability of the capital market should be enhanced. What is your view on that, and what steps will the Securities Regulatory Commission take in this regard?
谢谢您的问题。
Thank you for your question. Just now, in the government work report, it is stressed that the underlying stability of the financial market must be strengthened. The functioning of the capital market could be affected by many factors, and its internal logic is also rather complicated. As regulators, we must pay high attention to the building of the stabilizer mechanism of the market and enhance its resilience. This is a systematic endeavor. Therefore, we need to adopt systematic bottom line and worst-case scenario thinking and take a comprehensive approach. As I see it, it should include at least one cornerstone and 5 pillars. One cornerstone or foundation is high-quality listed companies. I already elaborated on that while answering the previous question. And for the 5 pillars, capital, system, institution, regulation, and law enforcement, all of them are very important. So in terms of the foundation or cornerstone, there should be high-quality listed companies. As I said just now, listed companies must have good governance, stable returns, or a sound growth prospect. And both the major shareholders and the management team must understand that listed companies are also public companies. They must have this awareness of public interest and strive to boost the value of investment and hold themselves accountable to the public. As for the 5 pillars, the first is, of course, funding. We need a more efficient funding structure. We need both short-term money and long-term money, but what we lack is long-term money and long-term thinking in the market. We need people to be able to embrace the ideas of rational investment, value investing, and the long-term investment. And the second pillar is more rigorous basic systems. The capital market has extremely high requirements for standards, so we must strengthen the basic systems through reform and make the systems more adaptive, stable, and predictable. No matter it is the primary market or the secondary market, we all need to improve the pricing mechanism to make it function more efficiently, so that all market participants could have full negotiations in a fair environment to better discover prices and more efficiently allocate resources. Another example is quantitative trading in the secondary market. We need to maximize the benefits of such practice while containing its risks and ensure well-regulated development of the practice based on China's national realities and the conditions of the Chinese capital market. The third pillar is effective market adjustment. Supply and demand and prices are the determining factors that prompt the market to make adjustment and balance. There should be effective linkage and coordinated development between the primary and secondary markets. So the key is to ensure effective linkage and also coordinated development by putting in place sound mechanism to enable the market to better play its role. And the fourth pillar is better professional services. Securities, funds, and futures companies, investment management agencies, accounting and law firms, and rating agencies should bear in mind their original mission, focus on their functionality, and constantly raise the standards of their professional services to be a good gatekeeper for the market. The fifth pillar is more stringent regulatory law enforcement. The CSRC has recently carried out a number of law enforcement campaigns. We will continue to strictly enforce laws, and for some major violations of laws, we will ascertain their criminal and civil responsibilities. Just a few days ago, we transferred some market manipulators to the criminal departments for further investigation. The purpose is to uphold market order, more effectively protect the lawful rights and interests of investors in accordance with law, build a clean market environment, and make sure that all market participants abide by law, uphold integrity, and faithfully perform their duties. This is critically important for the stable functioning of the market. It must be noted that the market functions based on its own laws. In normal circumstances, the market should be free from intervention. However, when the functioning of the market is in serious disconnect with its fundamentals, leading to extreme situations like irrational volatility, liquidity drain, market panic, and serious loss of confidence, resolute actions must be taken to correct market failure. We already have some effective practices in this regard, and we will continue to strengthen the relevant mechanisms and resolutely forestall systemic risks. Thank you.
谢谢，谢谢，媒体朋友们，因为时间的原因，现在请提最后一个问题。
In the interest of time, we will take one last question.
第一排这位男士，我看你举了很多次手。
谢谢主持人。新加坡海峡时报提问，想请蓝部长来回复我的问题。去年年底，我们注意到一些地方债务过高，导致了基建停止的问题。想问一下，今年将如何应对地方政府债务问题？是否有具体的方案？谢谢。
The Straits Times. My question goes to Minister Lan. We noticed that infrastructure projects in some places were halted last year due to high debt levels of relevant local governments. How will China address the local government debt issue this year? Are there any detailed plans?
Thank you. Preventing and diffusing local government debt risks is a major issue that bears on development and security, people's well-being, and fiscal sustainability. We are also very concerned about this issue. In recent years, the Ministry of Finance has worked with relevant sides to implement the decisions made by the CPC Central Committee and give priority to effectively preventing and diffusing local government debt risks and rolling out a package of measures to diffuse risks. We have effectively diffused the risks of hidden debts of local governments. We have acted on the decisions made by the CPC Central Committee. Finance authorities at every level have taken pragmatic and effective measures and have seen positive progress. We have allowed local governments to issue government bonds, refinancing government bonds at a certain scale within the restrictions on local government debts, supported local governments, in particular high-risk areas, in diffusing hidden debts and making overdue payments to enterprises. We have mitigated the pressure of intensive payments of maturing debts and lowered the burden of interest spending. Following the principle of provincial government playing a leading role and municipalities and counties doing their best to diffuse debts, local governments have mobilized resources, formulated plans, and identified specific measures. Through concerted efforts of all sides, the local government debt risks have been eased. Payment of both the principal and interest of legally mandated local government debts has been ensured, with the scale of hidden debts narrowing. The clearing of government's overdue payments to enterprises has made positive progress, with the number of local financing platforms dropping. Overall, China's local government debt risks are controllable. Going forward, we will follow through on the decisions made by the CPC Central Committee, address the problems at the source, balance short-term and long-term objectives, take balanced approaches, and address both symptoms and root causes. We will work with all sides to improve local government debt management, build a government debt management mechanism in alignment with high-quality development, and diffuse local government debt risks in the course of high-quality development. First, we will strengthen management on legally mandated local government debts. We will optimize the debt structure of central and local governments and make scientific plans for the scale of local government debts. We will arrange bonds for non-profit projects in a coordinated manner, optimize the life cycle management system of special purpose bonds, and increase the effectiveness of spending. Second, we will further promote the sound implementation of the package of measures. We will consolidate previous outcomes and instruct local governments to fulfill their responsibilities. We will diffuse risks by allocating fiscal revenue, cutting spending, and putting idle assets and resources to good use, and explore new pathways to diffusing debt risks. Third, we will take strict supervision and accountability on illegal borrowings. We will improve the interagency joint punishment, implement the lifelong accountability of local government debts, and retroactive investigation into debt issues. As for new hidden debts and fraud related to the clearing of debts, we will carry out investigation and accountability into every case once they are discovered. We will disclose more accountability outcomes and give full play to the warning role of the typical cases. Fourth, we will set up a long-term mechanism for preventing and diffusing hidden debt risks. We will develop a comprehensive monitoring and supervision system for local government debts, curb new hidden debts, and diffuse existing hidden debts in an orderly manner. We will advance reform and transformation of financing platforms in different categories, and keep cutting the number of financing platforms. Thank you.
今天的记者会到此结束，谢谢各位嘉宾，谢谢大家，
That
再见。
concludes the press conference. Thank you, ministers. Thank you all.